Hey, Wagwan. Welcome back to Memory Lane, and this is the channel where we talk about childhood memories. Yeah, memories. Growing up back in the 60s when I was born, into the 70s, and maybe touching into the 80s a little bit, right? So if you're happening on this channel for the first time, stick around. We have a lot to talk about. Now, today I'm going to be talking about another staple container or piece of equipment that you would you would have found in many Jamaican homes back in the 60s, especially in the rural communities, right? Now, looking back, to that time period, um, things were much different. Many of the things that we take for granted nowadays, the kind of amenities that are available to us living in these modern societies, um, were not available back then, right? People did not have access to many of the amenities, the conveniences that we um, seem seem to be unable to do without nowadays. And one example of that, for me as a kid, growing up back then, was having a bathroom somewhere to have a shower, to have somewhere that was private, that you could have a shower, to a shower in, because it, I mean, it was the norm back in the 60s and in the community where I grew up, that most homes never had a bathroom attached to it, right? That was, houses that were built 60s, in the 60s, and maybe beyond that, more or less, I'm talking about for the average rural community Jamaican, you know, early 60s and going back. Um, in my opinion, the bathroom was an afterthought. That was not, you know, a room or a part of the house that was given much priority. I think just having somewhere to sleep was the you know the all-encompassing thought then, right? So most homes in my village, in my community, never had a bathroom attached. No, nothing like that. I mean, you want to have a shower, you stand outside with a bucket. What am I talking about? Shower. You want to have a bath, right? You stand outside in a maybe find a very secluded area, right? And you have your a bucket with half or full of water, with a soap on your rag, and you stand outside and you do your thing, right? Um, Many communities, that had running water. My community never had running water. Even I don't think even to this day, and we're talking about April of 2021. I don't think my community still does not have running water. Now think about that, right? When a lot of people think about Jamaica, you see all the beaches, you see all the tourist attraction, you see all the beautiful stuff. It's a lovely country. I love my country. I would go back there to live in a heartbeat. But I mean, things are not always what they appeared to be on TV, right? Apart from the beaches, people live their normal lives through the island. There's poverty there, right? So as a kid growing up, I never had a bath, never had a bathroom. What bathroom? You, like I said, you want to have a shower, man. You stand outside and in a secluded area with some container, and you bathe. In some communities around Jamaica, where had running water, that was fortunate to have running water, people would just stand beside the tap. There's maybe a public tap, and it's amazing that people would stand in a public place where other people are coming to get their water. I couldn't wrap my head around that and have their bath then. But the only difference is that most of these young guys are, well, it was mostly young guys who you see doing it. At least they would, they're not totally naked. They would have their underwear underwear on, right? But back to the meat of the matter. As a kid growing up, um, there was one container most homes had, which was used in place of the bathroom. We call it the bath pan, right? Now the bath pan um, came in various sizes, right? Um, Depending on what you could afford. But generally speaking, the bath pan was used for showering, for having a bath in, and 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 more so for to do your laundry. Yeah, but so when it comes to to the bath pan and showers, I can recall, I recall as a little kid growing up that my grandmother, whom I dearly love, she would take me outside or take us outside to the side of the house, and we would strip, and she would lather, lather up the rag and lather up our bodies, and she would give us maybe our once a week or twice a week bath. Maybe it was a Sunday evening, or maybe a Monday morning. And one of the funny thing, man, I can recall as a kid, man. There was an era at the side of my home where my grandmother used to bathe me. Now we had a little what we call a little hedge, a little made with plants to offer some privacy. But that hedge, that hedge, the hedging from those plants did not offer 100% coverage in terms of, and we were living close to a street where a lot of kids would be passing to go to my school, right? A lot of kids were passing that way to go. My gate, right, was was maybe about 20 feet from that little street that we call it the pass, you know that a lot of students were passing my home to get to the school where we all attended. And sometimes my grandmother would be out there showering me, and it was so embarrassing because I'm sure that you know some of these students could see me naked out there in my yard with my grandmother showering me. What am I gonna do? I can't say, Mama, move the bath pan from here and put it over there, because my grandmother, it seems as if she was totally oblivious to all of that. As far as she's concerned, boy, you're having a shower and you're having it right here. Whoever sees you, sees you. Right? So I can recall as a kid, man, it was a bit embarrassing because, other students were passing my house, looking into my gate and seeing me, seeing my grandmother, showering me. But, you know, um, I love her for that. I really love her for the care that she took of us. Yeah, so the bath pan was an integral part of a lot of homes. Like I said, it was made of mostly zinc, a zinc kind of metal, right? that was one of the main purpose for what it was used for. But apart from that, a lot of people use it for, most people used it for doing the laundry, right? Some people could afford more than one. Some people could afford the gigantic ones, you know. Um, but for the most part, in my home, we only had one. But as you know, as things kind of evolve, into the 70s and so on, early 80s, a lot of plastic containers started to come onto the market. So, there were options. You could get, plastic containers to supplement that. But yeah, looking back then, having a shower was different. I just I'm living in a home right now where, the I step out of my bedroom into my shower, right? Back then you would have to go fetch the water at the tank, right? With a bucket, pour it in the bath pan. Sometimes the water is so cold that you have to leave the bath pan outside in the sun for an hour or two to kind of warm up, right? Especially if it was me, it was what we call here the winter months, January, February. You know, the water was a little bit colder, even though Jamaica is a tropical country, but the water can be cold. I want you to go there, visit Jamaica and get a cold shower. See how different that is from the hot water that you're so used to. Well, depending on where you're watching this video from, right? You might still be using it, showering outside with your cold water. You know, I respect, enough respect for that. We have to make do with what we have. But for us who are living in North America and parts of Europe, you know, um, wherever, parts of Asia, Africa, you know, for us who are living in the more modern cities where you have everything, yeah, once in a while maybe you should, have a really, really cold shower if you're used to using hot water every day, you know, and that might take you back to your roots somewhat. Yeah, so it was so much different back then. I mean, generally speaking, life is different. And, time has evolved, things have changed. That was just a time period that we lived through, and things might be different now. But from time to time, I like to reminisce a lot, and look back. And so this is what this channel is all about. Just looking back at those childhood memories and just to reminisce and bring back, kind of rehash some of these memories, especially for the younger generation today, who are living in a society where they have everything at their fingertips and life is so easy. They don't even realize how good they have it, right? Anyway, enough of my rambling. If you like this channel, if you like what I talk about, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, okay? If this brings back, good old time memories for you, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button too and leave your comments. All right? So until we talk again, take it easy and stay safe.